Hi everyone, thanks a lot for joining. So let's begin with this good afternoon and good morning to everyone, depending on where you are joining from. Thanks a lot for being here today. The occasion is we are launching a new product of ours, so we will discuss that. The agenda would look like, let me first introduce my colleague Balázs, who is a senior consultant. He will do a demonstration of our product.
Hi.
And I'm Bertalan. Hi. Some of you most probably know me. I'm a sales guy. I will do a short pitch before we jump into the actual demonstration. I will discuss the history of the product, the difficulties we have faced at the beginning, and how we overcome these obstacles. Um, Let me start with a few things. So how our product, which is called AIP, Automated Invoice Processor, was born. So basically, the historical background looks like we had a local Hungarian regulation that we need to transfer certain invoice data to the tax authority. I believe that was first introduced in 2018. And since then, they have fine-tuned that regulation. And now, at this point, every invoice with all the invoice data should be transferred to the tax authority that has VAT included. And it is accessible backwards. So we can also see those invoices that has been issued to our VAT number. We can download or we can extract that data from the tax authorities, and we thought why we wouldn't start doing something with this data that is accessible. So basically, we figured out that we can prepare these invoices to be posted somehow. So we had the data. We had to figure out what we are doing with that. First thing was, our first approach was to introduce rules, and based on certain rules, the mapping of these structured data can be prepared for posting. But after a certain point, we have realized that a lot of rules has to be introduced, and it has its limitations. It was not overlookable anymore. We couldn't maintain this sort of that volume of data, so we had to look for another solution. And at that point, AI and machine learning came into the picture. So we have introduced a machine learning engine that can assess our historical data, and based on our certain basically patterns or series, it can identify trends, and with a pretty good hit rate. Of course, the better the data, the better the assessment will be. It can predict certain so how you should post the incoming invoices. So yeah, that's how it was introduced. The solution was essentially machine learning. And today it works. It works pretty fast, of course, and AI and machine learning is a pretty trendy solution nowadays. We had to try that, and yeah, it works. So about the solution, can you yeah. So about the solution, it has different modules, let's say. There is the base application, which essentially is the part that has the machine learning in it. It will do the mapping and the preparation of the data to be posted essentially. and everything that happens before that, so how we receive the data, is of course optional. Here in Hungary, we have the option to extract the data from the tax authorities, of course, but we figured out why not broaden the solutions target market and go abroad with that. So basically, we have introduced different data sources here. First, of course, if you have an EDI system, for example, EDI solution, you can communicate through that and receive the structured data with the help of an EDI connection. And after that, once you have received all the invoice details, you can put AIP on top of that, and it will do the processing and the mapping. Another solution was OCR that came into our mind, and because BC already is prepared to handle OCR, we figured out we had to create a connector between AIP and the BC OCR interface, let's say. So basically, there is settings in BC to set up OCR. You have to configure here the actual OCR provider. You know, there are multiple. We are in partnership with Kofax currently, but that's not exclusive. So our solution was designed to be able to handle multiple or different OCR providers. So first of all, you have to configure the provider in BC. It depends on the actual provider in which format they are accepting the invoices, and so they can process it. In our case, Kofax, we have to send the invoice in an email, and they will revert it back directly into BC in the format of an XML file, and there we will have already the structured data in an incoming document. And parallel with that process, there will be an AIP document also created, which will be processed with the machine learning, and all the mapping will be done, and it will be prepared for posting. So yeah, basically that's the OCR part. So our OCR connector is, let's say, 90-something% ready. It's still in the process of testing, but we will try and demonstrate that as well. And basically, it will be ready very soon. We are also preparing to upload it into the app source very soon. So our estimation, it will be available next week or the week after. Okay, and the XML data that I have mentioned previously. So basically, this is what our localization is built on. So our online invoice transfer has to follow this XML pattern. We are receiving the documents or the invoice data back in an XML format that we can handle. And for the Hungarian market, we have also an HEP connector. Basically, HEP is our localization. It's the Hungarian extension package. That's the abbreviation for. It is also, and it is already available from AppSource. And basically, it connects our localization and the online invoicing system to AIP, and with the help of that, we can process these XML files with AIP and machine learning. And furthermore, any sort of structured data can be essentially used to serve as a data source. So yeah, and we can pretty easily create a connector to a structured data source. Okay, there is one last thing before we jump into the actual demonstration. That's the licensing and how we are packaging our solution. So basically, the licensing is very simple. The connection, the connector tool is not licensed, but the AIP model itself is. So that's the base app, let's say. And the fees are based on invoice lines. And these invoice lines can be separated in two groups. If we are preparing to post the invoices based on posted purchase invoices, then we are doing the major part of the mapping. That's the more expensive part. But if you have like a purchase receipt lines, in that case, that means the data is already prepared somehow, and we just fine-tune that, make the suggestions with the help of AIP. In that case, that's the cheaper option. Basically, it depends on the level or the volume of work that we put in with the help of AIP. So basically, that's it. That's AIP in a nutshell. Now Balázs will do the demonstration. After the demonstration, we will have a Q&A session. So if you have any questions, feel free to type it into the chat during the demonstration, but we will address these at the end of our session.
Okay, thank you, Bertie. So first, I have to log into BC, and in the meantime, I send my invoice to the OCR connector because we need some minutes to process this invoice. So I send this email, and then we have to wait a little bit here. Okay, it works. Okay, so the main screen of the AIP solution is this incoming invoice administration page. In the first, in the top line, we can see the invoices in different statuses. We have, for example, the open tile, the verified with warning, and the verified tile. These are all unposted purchase invoices. In the open, under the open tile, we can see invoices with problems, so we cannot generate immediately a purchase invoice from these invoices. For example, a vendor is missing, or the machine learning couldn't figure out GL invoice, GL account for the lines, and so on. So these are the open invoices. We have the verified with warning invoices. From these invoices, we are able to generate a purchase invoice immediately, but there are some warnings, and it is better if we check it before generate these invoices. And the last one, the verified tile, it means there is no problem, no warnings, and we can generate the invoice immediately. We have an invoice created tile where we can see the invoices already generated in the purchase invoice page. We have an archive tile where all the posted invoice we can find here, and we can also archive invoices without posting, of course. And and we can also, the invoices can be archived automatically after a given period of time. For example, in our demo database, after 20 days, if we don't post the invoice, it will be archived automatically. So let's see an invoice. For example, a verified with warning invoice. I open the card view. So here is our invoice. In the fields, some information comes from the downloaded data from the tax authorities, and some fields comes from the BC, from our tables. For example, here you can see the supplier tax number. It comes from the downloaded data, but in the vendor know field, you can see the vendor know from the database, and so on. So here are some other fields, for example, currency code here, some dates here, and here are the lines. And as you can see, we have a separate status of the header and separate of the lines. We have a header verified yes, and the number of verified lines 1 from 1. And the status is verified with warning. In the left, the right panel, we can check what are the warnings and what are the errors regarding this invoice. For example, in this invoice, we have warnings related to the line number 1, and the problem is that our GL account, the probability of our GL account is below 60%. So the machine learning figured out a purchase invoice, a GL account number, but we said that if the probability is below 60%, we can set in the settings, then we would like to see a warning. So we can decide if we would like to accept this GL account or not. If I click on edit, and then I can show you these percentages. So this account number we found is the probability of this account is only 26%. And of course, we can modify here the account number. For example, I change to this GL account number. Sorry, I have to reopen and then change to this account number. Yeah. Well, the VAT product posting room also come from the machine learning functionality, and of course the unit of measure code. It is important in item type lines. So I have this invoice. I had to modify the GL account now, and now I press this verification and create invoice button. Okay, as you can see in the related incoming invoice status, it is invoice created. So I can click on that. Oh, sorry, it is opened automatically. So I go back. Yeah, so here is the related document number on the incoming invoice screen, and I can click on this related document number, and here we have the purchase invoice. I should check the information, for example, the dates and the amount and so on. Here we can see that this comes from the incoming invoice functionality with this status field, and now I can post this invoice. Okay, and I can go back to the incoming invoice, and you can see that the status is modified to invoice posted, and the related document number is the posted purchase invoice document number. So we have posted this incoming invoice. Okay, let's see a verified invoice. I select this. So as you can see, we don't have any errors or warnings. I still can check the probability of this GL account. It is 94%. So I accept this and I will leave here. And I just click on the Create Invoice button. And here is our purchase invoice. And I can post it immediately. Okay. In case of major problems, for example, a missing vendor, if I open the incoming invoice, I can create the vendor from here, for example. So I have here a create vendor button, and after it, I will be able to post this invoice and as well. But there are other possibilities where to see invoices and create a purchase invoice. So I leave this page, this launch page, and I open the incoming documents page, because here I also can create a new invoice. I enter the vendor. And in the vendor invoice now, I can select from the incoming invoice list from our unposted invoices. Here I can open the incoming invoice window, for example, because it is verified with warnings. So maybe I would like to see why there are warnings here. So I can click on edit and check why it is. It has warning. It has again the same warning. The probability is too low, below 60%. Now I accept this, so I don't do anything here. Just go back and click OK. As you can see here, we can also see the status. We're in the incoming document, verified with warning. Okay, here in the incoming document, we can start approval process if you would like, or if we don't use approval process, I can create directly on this create manually button. Yes, I don't care, it is verified with warnings, so I click on yes. And now, as you can see, here is our purchase invoice. Here we can see that the incoming invoice status is invoice created, and I can post here. Maybe I will have, yeah, I have dimension warning, dimension error, so I don't post this now, but only the dimension is missing from this invoice. Okay, and if I go, I show you the third option where we can use this function, this AIP module. So I go directly to the purchase invoices. So I'm here in the purchase invoices. I create new, enter the vendor number. Yes, and I go to the vendor invoice number field and drill down here. And again, I can see all unposted invoices of this vendor. So I can select here directly another purchase invoice. It is again verified with warning, so it is better if I check it before. Why is the warning? Is again because of the low probability. Yeah. I don't care. I accept this. Yes, I don't care. Okay, I have the line of this invoice. So I think I will be able to post this invoice. Yeah. So I have posted this invoice. Okay, if I go back to the incoming invoice list, then I can see that I have the invoice here in this list, which I sent to the OCR email address. This is my invoice, which was went through the OCR process. As you can see, it has OCR AIP status processed, and now it is, as you can see, it is in a verified status. So we don't have any errors or problems, and it is ready to generate the purchase invoice from this incoming document as well. Okay, we have some problem here. So I don't show you how to create the purchase invoice again. Okay, I go back to the incoming invoice administration because I would like to show you other function. Until now, I showed you only invoice lines with GL account type, but of course we can use this solution works also with items as well. So the processing can get the answer that the type is item, and we can also figure out the item number. And we also have the function in this solution that it tries to figure out the correct purchase receipt line. So it will match automatically to the invoice line the correct purchase receipt line. It is better if we have the vendor shipment number in the data. We download it from the tax authority. So if we have that data in the XML, that is the best option. But if we don't have the vendor shipment number in the data we downloaded from the tax authority, then we try to match the receipt lines in FIFO manner. So when we create the purchase invoice with items, it will be already matched with the receipt lines. Okay, and I just show you some setup screens to you. First, for example, here is the incoming invoice setup. We can set if it is mandatory to match purchase receipt to the item type line, or it is not mandatory. We can set here in the receipt quantity mapping mode if the quantity of the invoice line should match the quantity of the receipt line, and we match only one receipt per invoice line. It is the strict option, or we can match multiple receipt lines to one purchase invoice line. For example, other settings we can ignore the lines if the quantity is 0 or the the price is 0, we can ignore that lines. For example, here are the machine learning settings, machine learning server settings, and yeah, I go to the next one. Yeah, we have, as Bert mentioned, we can also set rules instead of machine learnings. We don't have rules now, but we can set rules based on the text of the invoice lines, or the tariff numbers of the invoice line, and we can set the type as GL account or item, and the number, the GL account number, or the item number based on rules. And the rules we can set per vendor, these rules, or we can set rules without vendor number, so it applies to all incoming invoices. Yeah, in the machine learning setup, we see the fields we use for machine learning. Here, for example, here is the prediction acceptance level, acceptance accuracy level set to 60%. This means that if the prediction accuracy is above 60%, then we don't get warning and we accept without warning this prediction. For example, the GL account, and here is the minimum level of prediction accuracy. It is set to 20%. So this means if the accuracy is below 20, we don't accept that prediction. And if the accuracy is between 20 and 60%, then we get the warning we saw earlier on the invoices. I show you the field setup a little bit. For example, here we can set which fields are mandatory. For example, we get error if we don't have in the line a type or number, but we don't get error or warning if we don't have a payment method code. So you can set here these type of settings here. So I think I have finished with my demonstration. So do you have any question?
Yes, so if you have any questions, now is the time. I don't see any in the chat, but we still have some time. I think we won't fill out the whole 1 hour session. So yeah. Shoot us if you have. Yeah, there is one question from Matthias. So must be the invoice in a special XML format for us to be able to process that?
No, we have created the XML format of the Hungarian Tax Authority. This is the one option. Another option is the XML we get from this COFAX connector.
Yeah, or any OCR, because yeah.
So if you have a different XML, then we have to prepare a small extension and to accept that XML type.
No, that's just true for the Hungarian part, because we are receiving the data in a special XML format from the local tax authority. But for example, our OCR solution is built in a way to be able to utilize a really standard XML format, not a specific one, just a general one. No, and so your last question, so is it based on the WHO tax only right now? today, maybe yes, because we only have the AGP connector in the app source. But as mentioned, next week we will release the OCR connector, and with the help of the OCR and with the help of any provider or OCR provider that you utilize, and the result will be a generic XML format. We can use that as well, not just the Hungarian one. And furthermore, any structured data, for example, an EDI solution can be the source of the data that we can work with. I hope that answers your question, Matthias. Sure, got you. Any further questions? Or if you are too shy to share your question here, you can reach us in an email anytime. So that's also an option. So here it is our email address. If you have any questions, you can contact us on our email address. It's not shared here, but I know most of you, but those who I don't know, there is our general email address, or you can just visit our website. There are a tremendous amount of information shared there as well. So yes. I see still someone typing. I will wait for that. Okay, so again, the pricing as it depends on the region because of the currency. So in the European zone, we will charge in euros, or rather euro cents, because we are charging per lines. In outside the eurozone, we will charge on I believe dollar basis. The actual prices will be shared with our partners. But yeah, Matthias, if you are interested in the actual pricing, I will drop you an email after our session. Okay. Sure. Okay, so if that's that, we would like to thank you for attending our product launch webinar. Hope we will be able to do something similar in the very near future as well. Again, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact us at our availabilities listed here. And otherwise, have a nice rest of your day. See you soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.